Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a fantastic Friday so far and a great week. Today we're going to be diving into Cardano, and we've got something I am certainly very excited to talk about, to share with you. And it has everything to do with the homepage that you can see behind me. And of course, this is Milkamedia's homepage. Milkamedia is a layer 2 roll-up solution for your layer 1 blockchains that's going to essentially allow interoperability on their layer 2. So it's kind of like Polygon to Ethereum, but multi-chain. And Cardano is one of those chains. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And the reasons why I bring this up: we've often spoke about just the amount of usage and utility. For example, we spoke about total value locked and how we were going to see it get into the billions, hundreds of millions, and so on and so forth. But not only is the dApp ecosystem going to bring a lot of usage utility for Cardano, there's many other ways. And what Milkamedia are doing essentially is another one, by bringing Cardano to the cross-chain realm. So this number of benefits to this is Cardano can gain more exposure to larger liquidity pools. There's a number of things. We'll break it all down. We'll talk about what Milkamedia are. They essentially released a video today, or certainly on their Twitter, that demonstrated a bridge. The bridge that they were using was Nomad. Nomad essentially are what your this is the bridge here, or a visual representation of it. I think Nomad are essentially what Wormhole would have been to the Ethereum and Solana bridge. And essentially what is going to be allowed to happen here is Cardano will be able to interact. ADA will be able to interact with other assets like USDC, which we know, I think Tether's the largest stable coin, followed by USDC potentially. So this is a lot of liquidity. Yeah, that's correct. So this is a lot of liquidity that Cardano could gain access to. And it is still Cardano in a sense. So yes, it will live on Milkamedia's layer 2, but at the same time, it's still Cardano in the sense that it still has to reference, layer 2 still has to reference the underlying blockchain. So it's extremely interesting, and it's going to be, in my opinion, a huge liquidity adder to the Cardano ecosystem, and a real use case that's going to drive utility and utilization for ADA. So something I'm excited about. So that's mainly what we're going to talk about in this video, guys. Going to be looking at a number of other things like the daily volume, talking about the price of Cardano, looking at this RSI. This is the 3-day RSI, and if you look at where we are, guys, the last time we got to this point, or as low as we've previously gotten down here on the RSI before making a recovery, was March 2020. And in actual fact, we got lower than we did on March 2020. So this could be a bottoming indicator. A number of articles that suggest this in regards to a number of things. So yeah, let's get into the video, guys. Let's talk about Milkamedia. So Milkamedia essentially are a layer 2 scaling solution for any layer 1 blockchain, basically, or potentially they could be in the future. And what they're going to do is essentially you'll have all chain tokens upon Milkamedia's blockchain. So they'll all be able to interact with one another. Now, this is exciting. You can see here, this is a wallet with USDC in, Milk ADA, which is just ADA, and World Mobile token on all in one wallet, which is interesting. So this, them just being sat in a wallet, people go, okay, well, that's not very interesting. What can you do with that? But this essentially would allow for the likes of Crosschain. Have I got a tweet here about Crosschain dexes? No, I don't. So this would allow for the likes of Crosschain dexes and other things. So essentially you would be able to do what you can do on the DeFi space just for one chain in a multi-chain way, which I think is huge. And Cardano, this really gains a lot of exposure to ADA, because it's going to, if you imagine the fact, okay, on the Cardano ecosystem, we've got all these DeFi applications. Well, what about if all these DeFi applications lived on other chains and Cardano was also present on other chains? It would be far bigger, far more liquidity pools. Ethereum, for example, which has the largest amount of liquidity, would essentially, Cardano would be able to share that. So it's really, really interesting what these guys are doing. You can go and watch this video. The title of the video is Milkamedia Nomad Live AMA with Demo. It was they've definitely done a better job than I have in explaining it. But the reason, again, why I bring this up is because this is just another use case for ADA. It's another way that we see Cardano get utilized. And I think that it's a big one potentially. And I really like what Milkamedia are doing. They're very involved with DC Spark. So So this is something, of course, I'm very excited about. I think, you know, this is going to be huge. It's going to bring Cardano to the EVM realm, to the Solidity realm, and it's going to be able to interact with other blockchains. And I think that in itself is absolutely amazing. This is just one of many things taking place within the Cardano ecosystem. dApps is another one. DeFi, you know, we've got everything going on here, guys, and it's still all being built. I mean, I'm hugely bullish on the CNFT space, hugely bullish on the DeFi space, the DEX space, and so on and so forth. And it's often very, very easy when these things are taking place to miss them, certainly when the price action is doing this. Everyone's very interested when the price is uptrending, which is understandable. Lots of people get, you know, price, I believe, does matter. And I'm going to back that statement up by saying I would argue that a lot of people are involved in the crypto space or initially got into it, certainly myself. The prospects of investing really appealed to me. And then you kind of almost fall in love with it over time. Or you know, once you really get to grips with what's going on here, guys, it makes a lot of sense on a kind of bigger geo scale, if you will. So when the price is slumpy, people often lose interest, but you've got exciting things like what we've just spoke about taking place. This is just one of many. And if we look at the RSI down here, guys, we said in yesterday's video that Cardano was undervalued. Now, there's a number of reasons for this, and I've not got the article up, but there's an article that Grayscale wrote talking about, they were comparing Cardano to Bitcoin and Ethereum across a number of different metrics, user basis, wallets, and so on. And essentially the conclusion that they came to, and this was when Cardano's price was at all-time high, was that Cardano was undervalued, certainly in terms of market cap, which relates to price, of course, in comparison with the likes of Ethereum and Bitcoin, given where it is. And I found that very, very interesting. You know, you're at this kind of low point. This is the 3-day RSI, guys. Certainly interesting to me where we are. We've not been this low. The last time we were down here was in 2018. And prior to that, March 2020. And these have been typical low points that you've seen a recovery from. So that could be on the table. It all is largely dependent on Bitcoin, which is now very tethered to the kind of macro financial landscape. What's taking place with the Fed? What isn't? Are they going to up interest rates? How are markets going to react off the back end of that? So these are all things you've got to understand as an investor, that there's lots taking place, and that price often doesn't correlate very well with the underlying asset that it's trying to represent. You know, I would argue that a lot of Cardano, and another reason I think it's undervalued, is a lot of this price action really has and doesn't represent the fundamentals for ADA. This is something people easily overlook time and time again. You know, when you really understand what's taking place, this is just one thing, Milkamida and what they're doing with sort of bridging Cardano with the rest of the world, if you will. Most things are Solidity friendly. It is like the JavaScript. You know, it's very exciting what's taking place. I'm trying to make sure that people don't take that eye off the ball. So that is really the bulk of what I have for you in this video. Quick article here, now available for trading on Japanese crypto exchange for pro traders. More liquidity, the better, guys. You know, and it's another exchange to list Cardano. We're moving in the right direction. There'll be some big pro traders, typically have more money than retail traders. So there might be quite a bit of liquidity to come in from that. We're yet to see. Things are ticking along nicely in the DeFi ecosystem. I'm certainly noticing that when I'm using Cardano, when I'm buying a CNFT or when I'm using Sunday Swap, it's done significantly faster than it was even a couple of days ago, or certainly before we had the network update implementation, which is great to see. So things are ticking along nicely, guys. We're just waiting for that uptick in price, which has a lot of correlation with everything else around us. But it's coming, in my opinion. As far as an investment, and this isn't financial advice, I'm very comfortable with Cardano. So yeah, that's all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Go and check out Milkamida. Their Twitter handle is @milkamida_com. And they also have their homepage, milkamida.com. Go and check them out. Check out what they're all about. You know, this is another way and a huge amount of liquidity to be added onto ADA. And certainly there'll be farming opportunities that are likely to come out of this in the form of DEXs, cross-chain DEXs. I mean, that's insane. But ultimately, and one thing that people get, I think, confused about is yes, Cardano, it's Cardano on Milkameda, but it's still Cardano in the sense that the underlying blockchain still has to get referenced, if that makes sense. That's kind of how rollups work. I'm going to stop waffling on at that. Remember, guys, we do have a stake pool. ALLIN is the ticker. If you guys want to head over and delegate, feel free. We are minting blocks regularly now, as we do have 1.4 million Cardano staked to our pool. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Enjoy your Friday evenings, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. See you in the next one, guys.